If you're looking for an alternative to hammering frets, you might be in for a treat. I'm going to build a fret press using mostly parts and woods I have laying around. The principle is fairly simple and I'll go step by step, so by the end of this video you'll be able to make one too. So stay with me. Let's build a fret press. Hi, I'm Yoav and this is the Electric Luthier. I have a fret press Caul I've bought a while back with the intention of mounting it on a drill press. I'll link a couple of options for it below, as that's pretty much the only thing you need for this. I didn't feel like my little drill press would stand up to the challenge, and I was afraid of breaking the handle. I wanted something simple which will be able to apply enough pressure with a feel. I was thinking of using some 2x4s or something similar to create a solid base, maybe a couple more for the riser, and just a long handle on a single hinge. A long enough handle should give plenty of pressure. I want to put the Caul through the handle and just find a rubber ring or washer that'll keep it from falling out. I want to leave a little wiggle room for the Caul so it'll sort of self-level. The tricky part here is getting the angle, including the little spiel, so it'll be close enough. I need to figure out the distance between the base and the top of the fretboard to the Caul. I'll just stack the base, a neck blank, and a fretboard to make out the distance. Any difference in the thickness of the neck can be compensated for with a washer under the Caul or something under the neck. I usually do the fretting to an already carved neck, so there shouldn't be a lot of tolerance to the thickness. A threaded rod running through the risers and the handle will act as a hinge. If I run into a significantly thicker neck, I could create a second hole on the handle to thread the hinge rod a little lower. I'll mark the length of the 3 base pieces and the 2 risers and take them to the miter saw. Well, I didn't have 2x4s, so it's going to be 2x6s, which are actually working out to be 4 centimeters by 14 centimeters after they were being planed. I want the base to be long enough to both counter the forward pressure and also enable easy clamping should I want to. I will drill a hole slightly larger in diameter than the Caul vertically in the handle part, and a horizontal one at the same piece and at the 2 risers. I'll then shape the front of these base pieces just to make them look a bit nicer and to have more comfortable access to the Caul when fretting. I could have just rounded it, but this way it also makes it easy if I want to put a clamp here. I'll also shape the handle a little just to make it more grabbable. Next, it's a bit of router work. Again, the shaping of the base parts is more for aesthetics than anything else, but why not? I'm just going to run it on my table-mounted router with a 1/2-inch roundover bit, probably still mounted from a strat body. The handle needs a bit of rounding as well. All this can be done manually or even skipped. There was also a lot of exciting sanding I decided to spare you from. It's time to start putting it all together. So I aligned the 3 base pieces and put the 2 risers between them. I add a piece of plywood which will also overhang a little to the sides to avoid the neck rocking. I first dry clamp everything together to see that it all fits and that I didn't make any major mistakes. The threaded rod needs a little work, but I don't mind that it's snug. It's actually better this way. The long handle piece is actually birch and not pine like the rest of it, and is just a hair thinner, so I should be able to still move it after everything is assembled and there is some pressure from the threaded rod. I take it all apart for gluing. The glue will make everything a bit more rigid and also save me from screwing layer upon layer of the pieces. I apply glue generously and reassemble it. The critical part here is to align the two holes with the rod. After everything is aligned, I clamp it, and I also add a few long screws from each side. These screws should be long enough to reach the centerpiece from each side. I measure and cut the rod to the right length. This can be done with a grinder, of course, but it's one cut, and manual cutting will give me a nice clean cut. It's time to put the handle in place. It fits snugly, and the light pressure even holds the handle in place. It's loose enough for me to easily work it though. I kind of like it, though it'll probably loosen with time. This does not need to be tightened for any purpose other than holding it in place. Maybe I'll want to give it a bit of a squeeze if it becomes too loose. That's it. It came out just the way I wanted it, and I can't wait to give it a go, which will probably be happening in one of my next videos. If you found this useful or helpful, please let me know in the comments or any of the buttons below. There's also a lot of information on guitar building on my website, theelectricluthier.com. And check out these videos too. And until next time, don't just sit there. Go ahead, build a guitar.